Shalom, everyone. This is Brother Travis at King James Bible University. And today we're going to speak on, in previous studies and learning, about the name of Esau and the name of Jacob. So we're going to gather some information and knowledge throughout Precepts. We're going to seek out of the book and we're going to read according to what is shown to us in the Word, and none other than the Sovereign King James Bible, 1611, with the Apocrypha included. So let's get started. Each name in the book of the Lord has meaning, purpose, and character. Names known as ways reflects the character of the individual, from their behavior to their acts, and this makes them unique from other people. Names in the Bible are important to know because the function of that name gives knowledge of the character. God created man, therefore he knows us better than we know ourselves. He does no guessing when it comes to our name and our way. So just keep in mind this, what we read. We may revisit it, but check it out, okay? So we're going to go to Genesis chapter 25 and verse 2. We're going to start here in the book. And the children struggled together within her. And she said, if it be so, why am I thus? And she went to inquire of the Lord. Rebekah went to search and inquire after who knows her best, the Spirit of God. She wanted to know about herself, something she didn't know, and so she asked, why am I thus? Picking back up at verse 23. And the Spirit of God said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. And the one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger. Jeremiah chapter 1, verse 5. Before I formed thee in the belly, I knew thee. And before thou camest forth out of the womb, I sanctified thee. And I ordained thee a prophet unto the nations. God knows who he formed before they were in the belly and before they came forth out of the womb. God is who kill and make alive. He can open the womb and shut it. 1 Samuel chapter 2 and verse 6. The Spirit of God killeth and maketh alive. He bringeth down to the grave and bringeth up. God knows his creation more than the creation know about themselves. Since God created man from the dust of the ground, it is impossible for man to know about self more than he who created the heaven and the earth. He knows me already, but I have to learn of him to then learn about myself. And I can only do this through when I seek his word. 1 Chronicles chapter 16, verse 11. Seek the Spirit of God and his strength. Seek his face continually. Matthew chapter 11, verse 29. Take my yoke upon you and learn of me, for I am meek and lowly in heart, and you shall find rest unto your souls. Isaiah chapter 34, verse 16. So we're going to take the yoke of JEHOVAH and learn of him. We're going to seek out of the book of the Spirit of God and read. Seek ye out of the book of the Spirit of God. So we're going to seek out of the book of the Spirit of God. We're going to seek ourselves, and as we seek in to find out and learn of the Spirit of God, we're going to be in return learning about ourselves. No one of these shall fail, When we seek out of the book and read, no one of them words is going to fail because they are all spoken with truth, no lies attached. None shall want her mate. So we shouldn't mate any other doctrine, any outside book, Strong's Concordance, or any commentaries from outside of the book other than the New Testament should be mated unto this one doctrine, this one book. For my mouth it hath commanded, and his spirit it hath gathered them. Psalms chapter 40, verse 7. Then said I, Lo, I come in the volume of the book written of me. So you see right here where it say in Isaiah 34:16, seek yourself, seek ye, seek you out of the book of the Lord, including read. We got to read, we got to learn, we got to comprehend it. This book is written of us. So it's only written to one people. God don't mix with all type of people. This is the book of the Lord, the Spirit of God. It is not of man's own writings, nor from his own knowledge. The book is written of me. I must seek myself out of the book and read. It's impossible for me to know about myself when I don't open up the book and read it with comprehension. Most people say when you want to hide something from a black man, to put it in a book. My identity is hidden from me of who I am because of my disobedience to the Father and my disrespect to his word that he sent. I had a chance and opportunity to learn, but I chose the contrary path, opposite of the path of life. I chose not life, the word, and light, but rather I chose unto myself darkness. Genesis chapter 1, verse 3 and 4. And God said, let there be light, and there was light. And God saw the light, that it was good. And God divided the light from the darkness. Psalms chapter 119, verse 105. Thy word a lamp unto my feet, and a light unto my path. So it's the word that is a lamp unto my desires and a light unto my path. The path of all of us will be made known and revealed unto us only through having light and the word, not from horoscopes, not from tarot card readers, not even from grandmama in a building made with hands. My hard head and stiff neck rather have false gods tell me who I am from a world view instead of the spirit from a spiritual view. Flesh can't see who I am by just looking at me. She can't figure me out by so-called reading the palms of my hands while flipping a deck of cards. But spiritual knowledge only comes from when I flip the pages of the spiritual book. The mirror can't tell me who I am when I'm looking at it outwardly. I must look within. 2 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 7. Do ye look on things after the outward appearance? That's a question. 1 Samuel chapter 16, verse 7. But the Spirit of God said unto Samuel, look not on his countenance or on the height of his stature, because I have refused him. For the Spirit of God seeth not as man seeth, for man looketh on the outward appearance, but the Spirit of God looketh on the heart, on the desire. Romans chapter 2, verse 28 and 29. For he is not a Jew which is one outwardly, but he is a Jew which is one inwardly. When it comes to my way and path of my doings, God by much knowledge looked on my heart to see what my desire is and the path that I am going to choose. He already knows the end at the beginning. When it comes to unique Hebrew names, they all have meaning, and we lost them through the Atlantic slave trade. Why? Disobedience at home, rebellion to God, law, statutes, commandments. We got kicked out of the land to go into captivity in a whole new foreign land, and so we took on unfamiliar names and ways, such as came from the Gentiles, Travis, for instance. This name has no profound spiritual connection to the God of the Hebrews. Now we're going to get some background story on ourselves in Deuteronomy chapter 29, verse 25. Reading on down. Then men shall say, because they have forsaken the covenant of the Spirit of God of their fathers, which he made with them when he brought them forth out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. For they went and served other gods and worshiped them, gods who they knew not, and whom he had not given unto them. And the anger of the Spirit of God was kindled against this land to bring upon it all the curses that are written in this book. And the Spirit of God rooted them out of their land in anger and in wrath and in great indignation, and cast them into another land, as it is this day. As it is this day, we are in another land. The secret things belong unto the Spirit of our God, but those things which are revealed belong unto us and to our children forever, that we may do all the words of this law. Baruch chapter 4, verse 1 on down. This is the book of the commandments of God, and the law that endureth forever. All they that keep it shall come to life, but such as leave it shall die. Turn ye thee, O Jacob, and take hold of it. Walk in the presence of the light thereof, that thou mayest be illuminated. Give not thine honor to another, nor the things that are profitable unto thee to a strange nation. O Israel, happy are we, for things that are pleasing to God are made known unto us. Be of good cheer, my people, the memorial of Israel. You were sold to the nations, not for your destruction, but because you moved God to wrath. You were delivered unto the enemies. For you provoked him that made you by sacrificing unto devils and not to God. You have forgotten the everlasting God that brought you up. So I want to backtrack on some of these things that we just read together. How it says right here, in Baruch chapter 4 and verse 1. This is in the Apocrypha. This is in the Sovereign King James Bible. Not the 66 books, the books that has the books that were taken out from the middle, the bridge that goes from the Old Testament to the New Testament. So I want to show you all about Deuteronomy chapter 29 and verse 29, how it says that the secret things belong unto the Spirit of our God, but those things which are revealed belong unto us and to our children forever, that we may do all the words of this law. So those secret things is going to be revealed. They're going to be made known. They're going to be manifest, right? Baruch chapter 4 and verse 4 says, O Israel, happy are we, for things that are pleasing to God are made known unto us. Exactly. So once we find out the things that are pleasing to God and they are made known unto us, happy are we. Verse 6, we were sold to the nations, not for our destruction, but because we moved God to wrath. Okay, check it out over here, back in Deuteronomy, where it says in verse 27, and the anger of the Spirit of God was kindled against this land to bring upon it all the curses that are written in this book. The same book that Baruch is in. It's all of the same book. It's not from another doctrine. Baruch is in the Apocrypha. And then we see in verse 28, it says, and the Spirit of God rooteth them out of their land in anger and in wrath. So you see that in both places, in both locations, in both citations, it's telling us that it's because of the wrath, because of our provoking, is the reason why we were cast into another land. But it's not for our destruction. Let's continue. Baruch chapter 4 and verse 7. For you provoked him that made you by sacrificing unto devils and not to God. You have forgotten the everlasting God that brought you up. I was rooted out of the land through anger and wrath. I didn't hearken to the voice of God. I turned aside from his words and made my sacrificing unto devils and other gods, philosophers and astrologers that speak vanity. When I forgot the covenant I made with the everlasting God and no longer went to inquire after him as what Rebekah did, I no longer had knowledge about God and I no longer had knowledge about myself. Hosea chapter 4 and verse 6. My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Because thou hast rejected knowledge, I will also reject thee, that thou shalt be no priest to me. Seeing thou hast forgotten the law of thy God, I will also forget thy children. It's right here in the book, people, not my words. As a people, our works and children has been forgotten because of our hatred towards God. We lost our Hebrew names and our Hebrew ways, but now they are found and hopefully never lost again. Through profound research, Elder Michael Johnson, an ordained pastor by God and a Master Hebraist by profession, has labored diligently to seek out Paleo Hebrew writings. The original meanings of Paleo Hebrew writings cannot be altered nor changed, and through careful research and study could be learned and taught by God's chosen. Hebrew baby names were once lost, but now could be found on the platform of kjbu.org. This platform has a book that is not as a Strong's Concordance with false interpretations. It's a book for Hebrew baby name meanings that are rare and unique. So I mentioned that Elder Johnson is ordained pastor. And I'm going to show you that in Jeremiah chapter 3 and verse 15. And I will give you pastors according to mine heart, which shall feed you with knowledge and understanding. So we need this knowledge and understanding that's going to come from above. It's going to go through his pastors that he's going to give according to his heart. So we need this knowledge. Why do we need this knowledge? Because in Hosea chapter 4 and verse 6, it says, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. So we need to hearken unto the pastors when they are feeding us. So this pastor is only going to be this here in Ezekiel chapter 34, verse 30 and 31. Thus shall they know that I, the Spirit of their God, am with them, and that they, even the house of Israel, are my people, said the Creator God. And you, my flock, the flock of my pasture, are men, and I am your God, said the Creator God. So we got some backstory on who we are as a people, having these curses, getting sent away out of our homeland into another land, a land that we are in captivity in, not for our destruction, but because we moved God to wrath. So we got some knowledge and history on that. So we still following of the reason what a name is, and this name meaning a way. God knew the way of both Jacob and Esau. He created them. He knew Jacob was going to be stronger and that he was going to supplant the ways of the flesh, Esau. Genesis chapter 35, verse 9 and 10. And God appeared unto Jacob again when he came out of Padan Aram, and blessed him. And God said unto him, thy name is Jacob. So remember in the beginning of this, we just read that God said, thy name is Jacob. So it says right here in the last sentence of this commentary, God created man. Therefore, he knows us better than we know ourselves. He does no guessing when it comes to our name and our way. So this commentary that I got right here is not from another book. This is just from my studies, just my own writing and my own pen. So God created man and does not guess when it comes to his name or his way. So we see what he told Jacob. In Genesis chapter 35, verse 10, and God said unto him, thy name is Jacob. Thy way is Jacob. Thy way shall not be called any more Jacob, but Israel shall be thy name, thy way. And he called his way, his name, Israel. Isaiah chapter 44, verse 2. Thus said the Spirit of God that made thee and formed thee from the womb, which will help thee. Fear not, O Jacob, my servant. So the Spirit of God made thee, Jacob, and formed thee from the womb of over here. From the womb of Rebekah, where it says in Genesis 25, verse 23, and the Spirit of God said unto her, when Rebekah went to go inquire and ask, why am I thus? So she went to go to who knew her best, which is the Spirit of God. So this is the reply of the Spirit of God through a parable. Two nations are in thy womb, And two manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. And the one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger. Jeremiah 1:5, before I formed thee in the belly, I knew thee, and before thou camest forth out of the womb, I sanctified thee, and I ordained thee a prophet unto the nations. So Jacob was known from the womb. The Spirit of God did not have to make any guess of who he was. He knew exactly who he was. Isaiah 44:2. Thus said the Spirit of God that made thee and formed thee from the womb, which will help thee. Fear not, O Jacob, my servant. You have nothing to fear about, Jacob. The Spirit of God will help thee. Genesis chapter 27, verse 36. And he said, is not he rightly named Jacob? For he hath supplanted me these 2 times. He took away my birthright, and remember, now he has taken away my blessing. And he said, hast thou not reserved a blessing for me? So this Esau talking. He was supplanted by Jacob. Jacob is rightly named Jacob for a reason, not only for identity purposes, but because according to his way, it means supplanter. That was his function. That's what he was doing, supplanting the ways of the flesh. He was supplanting Esau. So you see what Esau is saying, for he hath supplanted me these 2 times. He took away my birthright, and remember, now he hath taken away my blessing. Romans chapter 9, verse 11 through 13. For the children, being not yet born, neither having done any good or evil, that the purpose of God according to the election might stand, not of works, but of him that calleth. It was said unto her, Rebekah, the elder shall serve the younger. As it is written, Jacob have I loved, but Esau have I hated. We see in verse 12, it was said unto her, the elder shall serve the younger. We see that in Genesis 25, verse 23. The last line, it says, and the elder shall serve the younger. Scripture don't break. 2nd Ezra chapter 6, verse 8 on down. And he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born of him, Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. The hand of man is betwixt the heel and the hand. Other question, Ezra's, ask thou not. So we see that what Jacob was doing, he held the hand, or the heel, with his hand of Esau. So we see that he supplanted Esau. I'm going to further clarify some of this. We're going to move along. The reason the boys were named after birth is because their character wasn't shown to Rebekah until after they came out. She only felt them struggling in her womb. She didn't know who was who until she saw the character of both Jacob and Esau. Esau's manner was according to the flesh, living in sin. And when she saw Jacob holding his heel, she knew this was the stronger brother that God spake unto her in a parable. When she went to inquire, Rebekah had knowledge that the elder shall serve the younger. All of what was spoken to her made her promise Jacob over Esau. Rebekah went to go learn about self when she went to inquire of the Spirit of God. She went to the book. She also was shown something physically to relate it spiritually. Jacob was loved by God, and so she followed the same path. Esau is of the flesh. Jacob is the supplanter. He took possession of the flesh works to exchange it for the spirit. Jacob's flesh became dead according to his works, and his spirit was made alive. I'm going to read one of the parts over again, the part that I want you all to see, where it says, Esau is of the flesh. Jacob is the supplanter. He took possession of the flesh works to exchange it for the spirit. And that's what was happening up here in 2nd Esdras, when Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning that followeth. So that exchange was happening. He was killing off that flesh so that that spirit can live. He was supplanting the ways of the flesh. And we can see in Hebrews chapter 10, verse 9. Hebrews chapter 10, verse 9. Then said he, Jacob, Lo, I come to do thy will, O God. He taketh away the first, that he may establish the second. Malachi chapter 1, verse 2 and 3. I have loved you, said the Spirit of God. Yet ye say, wherein hast thou loved us? Was not Esau Jacob's brother? Said the Spirit of God. Yeah, I loved Jacob, and I hated Esau, and laid his mountains and his heritage waste for the dragons of the wilderness. Remember, Rebekah, from the knowledge given her by God, followed the same path on who to love. Genesis chapter 25, verse 28. And Isaac loved Esau because he did eat of his venison, but Rebekah loved Jacob. So we see Rebekah loved Jacob. She was following the same path of God. God hated Esau and he loved Jacob. So Rebekah is following the same path of that she loved Jacob. She promised Jacob. So it was by the knowledge that when she went to inquire, that she was told by the Spirit of God that one people was going to be stronger than the other. So when she saw the boys come out of her, she saw the stronger brother, and she knew that that was the one that the Spirit of God was talking about. And we know God is not of confusion, so he even told her that the elder is going to serve the younger. So she also had more of an understanding that when that first child came out, that was the one that was going to be serving the younger, which Esau, according to the flesh, was the firstborn. And then Jacob supplanted the ways of the flesh and exchanged the flesh for the spirit, and he was living according to the spirit. The name of both Esau and Jacob was according to their doings. Name in the book of the Spirit of God functions as way. So I have an example. right here in 1 Samuel chapter 25, verse 25 and verse 3. This is an example of what name means and how it functions, which it means way. Let not my Lord, I pray thee, regard this man of Belial, even Nabal, for as his name is, so is he. Nabal is his name, and folly is with him. So we see Nabal, for as his name is, so is he. Because that's according to his way. It's not his name for identity purposes only, but according to his doings, according to how he functioned, according to his characteristics. Because remember when we read up here, I have each name in the book of the Lord has meaning, purpose, and character. So I only learned this by way of studying under a Master Hebraist that did the research and the diligent studies of Paleo Hebrew. So Nabal, for as his name is, so is he. Nabal is his name, and folly is with him. So with the punctuations, we got the colon, which means clarification, and the comma, which means clarification. So you can see it in that verse, how Nabal is followed by a colon, and it's going to clarify what Nabal name means and what it functions as. Because it's telling us, for as his name is, so is he. That's a full thought. Nabal is his name, comma, it's finna clarify, and folly is with him. 1 Samuel chapter 25 and verse 3, still talking about Nabal, this example of how name function. Now the name of the man was Nabal, and the name of his wife Abigail, and she was a woman of good understanding and of a beautiful countenance. But the man was churlish and evil in his doings, because folly was with him. And he was of the house of Caleb. Nabal's name was according to his way. He had folly with him. He was a fool, churlish, and evil. He wasn't a part of the house of the Spirit of God, but of the house of Caleb, who was also a dog. Him having concubines are evil. And we can see with Caleb, we can see the house of Caleb that Nabal was joined to in 1 Chronicles chapter 2 and verse 48. Macha, Caleb's concubine. So right there, Caleb's concubine. Having concubines is evil. And Nabal was attached to this. So both of them, fools. If you're not attached to the house of the Lord and you're attached to another house, such as Nabal, him being attached to the house of Caleb, you are following a fool, a dog. So yes, everyone, according to Jacob's name and according to Esau's name, it all is there in Scripture. Seek out of the book and read, study to show yourself approved, and you will understand what it is saying to us spiritually. We must analyze the Scripture text and understand what it says and comprehend when we read the book. We must inquire at the mouth of the Lord and seek after the pastors in whom he gave to teach knowledge according to his heart. So I mentioned about the Hebrew baby names. I just would like to say this is the end of the teaching. And if anyone is looking for this book, it is on the kjbu.org website. and its Hebrew baby names. Unveiling the hidden treasures. Rediscover the Hebrew names and meanings from the Atlanta slave trade. So this book came by way of Elder Michael Johnson, Master Hebraist. This is rare and unique. You can find it on Amazon or at kjbu.org. Shalom and peace.